welcome to SATV's International Affairs, broadcasting from SATV's Dhaka studio. My name is Rashid Kanchan. I'll be your host. I have Brigadier General Shafat at studio, and from London, we will be in connection with Professor Rashid Alam. He is the Professor of Political Science, University of Dhaka, currently traveling United Kingdom. And from Washington, D.C., we will have Norman Flood Barnes, who will give us the latest of world politics inside United States, incidents over there, and the diplomacy. Run from Washington, Mr. Norman, let me begin from you.
Everyone, from Washington, D.C. today. Today, another day in Washington. We're looking at hopefully the Federal Reserve will be able to make a decision on the interest rates. Everybody's anticipating a lower interest rate. The economy right now needs a boost. Jobs are low, and so the rate will hopefully help the situation because the economy desperately needs a boost. Yesterday, we had some meetings on the Hill regarding the FBI, the situation there regarding the leadership, and also we had the actual charges was made against the suspect regarding the Utah shooting incident out there regarding Kirk. So right now we're waiting on the interest rates. That's the biggest thing that's going on today. The president is in the UK, as you've seen in the news. He arrived with his image being projected over Windsor Castle. So that is a conversation in itself going on, exactly. Him and Epstein's mugshots projected on the walls of Windsor Capitol. Apparently the people responsible there has been apprehended by the police. So we move on another day. The world is changing as we speak. The war is still going on, and we are trying to figure out who we are and where we at.
All right, Mr. Norman, let me go for a breaking news right this moment popping up in international medias. I'm just receiving details. Israel has intensified its military operations in Gaza City with reports of a growing number of civilian casualties. Aid groups continue to call for international intervention. And one news is coming from international source about Bangladesh. Let me read it out for the people of Bangladesh. A World Bank report says Bangladesh incurred around $1.78 billion in losses in 2024 due to rising heat, equivalent to 0.4% of GDP. I will give you details. Now let me introduce our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho in the studio. I will ask him what are the latest. Do you have, sir?
Thank you so much, Mr. Rashid Kanchan, and of course a warm welcome to Brig General Shafat Ahmed, and of course Norman, who joins us from Washington, D.C. But let me break the story here with something that is big in the United States. There is a chance of capital punishment happening for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Of course, prosecutors in the U.S. state of Utah said they will be seeking the death penalty for Tyler James Robinson, who is 22 and charged with the fatal shooting last week of right-wing commentator Charlie Kirk. And in addition, we have Israel, who is committing genocide in Gaza, and right now the UN Inquiry Committee has already stated that in due time, right before the High Sessions debate, in which will definitely see the statehood of Palestine.
All right, sir. Before I go to General Shafat. General Shafat is one of my very favorite panelists in Bangladesh. He speaks on war, disaster, conflict, negotiation, and of course international affairs. He is a retired general. Before I go to him, I just need to give a good news to Bangladeshi cricket lovers. Bangladesh beat Afghanistan by 8 runs in a crucial match, keeping alive their chances to reach the Super 4 stage of the Asia Cup before I go to you, I just given this good news to the cricket lovers of Bangladesh. Sir, what are the most significant immediate humanitarian impacts of the current Israeli ground offensive in Gaza City, because Israel is doing huge attack on the civilians?
Thank you very much for raising a very pertinent question. One fear that comes in my mind is that United Nations following the footsteps of its predecessor, the League of Nations? Because for last about a year or so, we see that Israel, with the support and in connivance with the USA, is just violating and disregarding all international norms and rules. They are not paying any heed to any of the decisions taken by the international body. So are we heading towards a situation whereby like that happened in 1930s when League of Nations became completely ineffective? Are we going to see a sort of resurgence of Germany of the pre-Second War days? Because what Netanyahu is doing, he is not bothered, and he is insisting, and his ministers insisting that at any cost they will not allow Palestine state to be established, and at the same time they are saying that they will incorporate Gaza into their state. So that means it is something like Hitler marching into Poland or going into Hungary, Czechoslovakia, replicating the same thing. So that's the questions to be asked to the international community. It's time that the international community has to act on this.
International community has to act. Mr. Norman, you are at Washington DC, and people around the globe, leaders around the globe, journalists around the globe are claiming that only one person, that is President Donald Trump, can stop or can continue this war, or to go for a ceasefire, or to declare the ending of this combat operation to the civilians. Mr. Norman, my question is very simple. I think you will face a little bit difficult to make me satisfied, make our viewers satisfied, how effective are current international or United Nations mechanisms in preventing or addressing civilian casualties and displacement in Gaza, Mr. Norman?
Thank you for the question. The actions of the UN is largely symbolic. There will be talks and conversations regarding genocide, helping aid, stopping the confrontation. There will be a lot of conversations in the next couple of weeks regarding what is wrong, but symbolically, that is the only thing that's going to come out of this. The actual aggression and the fighting will continue. Israel is as I said, they see the light at the end of the tunnel. They have support by the United States. The mission for them is to defeat Hamas at all costs, and that exactly is what's going to happen.
Mr. Norman, from you, I want to go to Shamsul Alam Pantho, who has gathered a lot of information regarding this particular zone, Middle East, Israel, Gaza, Israel, Iran, Israel, Lebanon, Israel, Iraqi militia, or Israel with other countries. Sir, my question is related to that. How should neighboring countries, regional powers, and global powers respond politically, diplomatically, and materially?
Thank you for the question. As I understand, it is of high significance as of today's events. The Middle East and how Israel is trying to destabilize the entire Middle East is not only affecting the reputation of other countries, but also Israel's reputation to cease as a state. Not only that, we understand that their attack on Qatar opened up new avenues of dialogue and discussion. We see how Qatar had scrambled an emergency summit meeting all the Gulf country leaders, and no, it's not just the GCC that is concerned here. We also see that the Organization of Islamic Cooperation is also concerned about someone in their neighborhood trying to destabilize the region. Of course, there are many US allies in the region apart from Israel. There is Saudi Arabia, there is Bahrain, there is Qatar. These countries are definitely having a beneficial relationship with the United States of America. This is, of course, historically speaking. Not that new ties have been made in Donald Trump's legislation or administration in the last more or less 9 months. But once again, if you look at when Israel will stop, or is there a deadline, we now know there is a ground incursion into the Gaza Strip, a ground assault. Previously it was an air raid, it was a missile strike, now it is a ground raid. So now the attempt is to remove the 1 million people living in Gaza, or the remaining people who are still starving, getting them to leave this land. I don't see it to be any kind of maneuver of an army to do such an
I really appreciate, sir. I have a breaking news, as well as I have a connections with the capital of United Kingdom, London. Professor Rashid Alam is there. He's currently traveling United Kingdom, and breaking news is the UK government is set to increase state pensions by about 4.7%, starting April 2026 under the triple lock system. This rate is higher than current 3.8%, putting pressure on public finances. But my question is, Mr. Rashid, what going on in UK? Why UK Reform Party becoming more popular than Conservative or Liberals, and posing threats to UK bi-party? Dr. Rashid from London.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? I think.
Yes, I can hear you.
Me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning.
So yeah, you have put a good question. Like, yeah, although we are focusing in our show like the US politics and the global politics, but here are some recent development has taken place in UK. Particularly, there is a new far right movement has become immensely popularized in UK government, UK politics in recent years. Particularly, the rise of Reform UK Party, who have been a major contender at the moment in UK politics because of the like rising interest for their agendas, particularly against irregular migration, controlled citizenships, and also immense pressure on public services and utilities due to rising immigration here in UK. So that's why the UK Reform Party has become very popular compared to Labour Party, who is in government at the moment, and also the Conservative Party, who was in power in the last before this Labour Party. And the credential they achieved due to there's a whole sort of new rising tendency in overall Europe. You know, the right-wing parties is now ruling the country in Hungary, Italy, and also they are the part of the coalition in major other countries like Finland, Sweden, Germany, and many other European countries, which also heavily influence the rising popularity of UK Reform Party in UK politics. And overall, the citizens and the youth are very much actually frustrated about their jobs, lack of employment, and also rising inflation, and UK commitment to Ukraine war, and many other political decision that has causing so many problems for the UK politics at the moment. And Labour is in immense pressure to immense pressure to meet the UK public demand at the moment. That's why there's a rising interest for this right-wing political party and politics in UK.
Professor Dr. Rashid, very well articulated respond. I am sure our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho has some queries to you as you are traveling right this moment in UK, and you are observing the ups and downs of the British politics, British politicians, British political parties. Shamsul Alam Pantho.
Thank you for passing me the issue regarding UK, and of course Professor Rashid Alam is also in the UK. I just want to bring out what took to storm in social media last night. Activists projected images of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein onto the Windsor Castle, and almost 4 political activists were arrested that is the temperature and the temperament of the US's leader state visit to the UK. And of course, we know how the far right and how Donald Trump's policy is leaning toward the right. And that kind of changes are coming into play in even not only in the UK, but also around in various European countries. I just want to ask Professor Rashid Alam, how do you see this visit to the UK of Donald Trump, and what is the regular feelings between the people in the UK?
Stands to the airport. So, I mean, as you rightly pointed out that there is a immense, I mean, the issue of pedophile cases like the Epstein cases, and the few days before last week, actually, the UK ambassador to USA has been dismissed because of like his connection with the Jeffrey Epstein. So these are the issues like the Donald Trump, and also there are other talking about like Donald Trump probably pursuing UK government not to recognize the Palestinian state as well. So overall, his current and at the moment, like there is a rising tension in the UK politics, particularly against the immigrant, against the Muslims, and the citizens of other countries as well. So Donald Trump probably visiting, and also the other development is like yesterday, Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, was talking about that the rising number of US citizens is now applying to UK because of its liberal ideology, pluralism, and people are very much fed up in US current political system because of like rise of right-wing politics in USA and anti-immigrant drive there. So they have applied in UK for citizenship here, a settlement here in UK. So yes, last year it was a tremendous increase. So overall, all this development taking place while Donald Trump here in UK, I think there are many other issues related to Ukraine interest, as well as the rising far right-wing movement in UK. So everything actually, yeah, here in and yeah, Donald Trump visit actually create, and there are lots of public anger against Donald Trump visit here as well in UK, particularly US unparalleled support to Israel genocide in Gaza. So many development has taken place here.
Professor Rashid Alam, I'll be back to you. When I'll come back to you, I'll have a tough question to you. You have to think before the answer, because is it a rise of right-wing movement in United Kingdom? This will be my question. Now let me go to Washington DC, where Norman is there. Norman, it is a legal issue. What legal or moral responsibilities do both Israel and Hamas have under international law in the context of urban warfare? Somebody says both the parties in war, Hamas and IDF, is violating all single rules of international law. Mr. Norman.
My response to that is both parties, both states, countries are in a state of war. So the international policies, yes, itself is been violated, but war is war. So right now, all regards to international law, rights, responsibility, courtesies is off the table.
Mr. Norman, I have a general in my studio who has the experience to even work under United Nations in different conflict zones, who served Bangladesh military, one of the finest military in the world. He has the experience. He's a writer, he's a columnist, he's a very, very good and bold speaker, very outspoken personality. Sir, my question is a little bit different. I'm doing it humbly. What are the long-term consequences of such military escalations on prospects for peace and stability in the Middle East region?
Thank you very much for the question. Before I answer your question, I saw in one of the Facebook post where somebody has posted, there was a writing behind a auto rickshaw in Dhaka. It read, "Please do not blow horn. 50 plus Islamic countries are sleeping." Please do not blow horn. 50 plus Islamic countries are sleeping. If they are sleeping, this war will continue, or simply Israel will occupy entire Middle East. The question is, when will they wake up? What Mr. Norman said is a war, but there has to be a limit. Even war has certain restrictions. Has anyone questioned Israel? Has anyone been able to stop them? Why Qatar was bombed? When Hamas had gone, because representative of Hamas had gone for negotiations, that means USA had given connivance. In connivance with USA, Israel had attacked, carried out their raid. What action has been taken? No effective action has been taken either by Qatar or by Middle Eastern countries. So as long as these states, Middle East states, they remain like this, subservient to the US and Israelis, there is going to be one-sided affair. Probably Netanyahu's idea of a greater Israel will be materialized soon. I don't know at what, in how much time, but probably he's going to. He have sorted out Syria. Assad is gone. Syria is virtually under their control. Gaza was one where they are trying to probably wipe up the last phase of the operation. So maybe in about a month or two, Gaza will be all vacated. And most probably these Palestinians will land up in most of the other Middle Eastern countries. That means they are occupying that area. There have been a lot of table talk, but no constructive work or effort has been done by any of the organizations.
Sir, I beg your pardon. I will request you to be stopped here. I want to connect with London once again. There is a professor of political science who has keen interest on Middle East. He is a specialist of international affairs as well. Professor Rashid, I think you are hearing from a general. Once a general, always a general. A general walks like a general, talks like a general. He said some tough words that if all Islamic countries is in sleep, this war is never gonna be stopped. Israel is going to be in history. Gaza is going to be in the part of history. It will not be visible anymore. What is your take on that, Dr. Rashid?
Yeah, I think Honorable General rightly pointed out the issues like there is a lack of unity and alliance among the OIC and Muslim countries regarding resolving the crisis in Gaza. Even though there are, they are speaking on this issue, but they are not actively working to bring the war in pause, bring the war in close, because of they have indirectly linked with Israel by supplying weapons, by supplying gases, by supplying fuels, and also supplying money through USA. So that's why Honorable General, I think, rightly pointed out, if you are united, if you are feeling that there is a huge humanitarian crisis is going on at the moment in Gaza. Gaza is at the verge of fail at the moment. Nothing is left there. So even though in the current the UN session, the many countries recognize Palestinian as a state, but where is this state remain? There is nothing left. The communities are dying of hunger and communities dying out of food, and every day the ground assault that now Israel is initiating is immensely traumatizing, and many children, many women, many elderly, they are immensely traumatized with these issues. And Israel also, not only they stopped in Gaza, they now thinking of taking back of West Bank as well. So I think at the moment, as a world community, we are failing. Not only the Arab countries, but the responsibility of the Arab countries is huge. Particularly, there is a lot of flotilla that going through Gaza, and Egypt is stopping them. So why? It's a humanitarian intervention that people taking aid to this flotilla to save the communities in Gaza, and why Egypt is blocking them. So this is how the world community, and particularly the Middle Eastern countries and Arab state, is completely failing to stop this genocide. So how on earth they're gonna give account? I mean, they have to be accountable to the Muslim Ummah and also the citizens of their own country. I think at the moment it is very important that the citizens of this Arab state come out to the street, and they should have compelled their government to take emergency measures. That's already we have been late. So when the government is failing, it is the duty of the citizens, particularly the Arab states. They have to come up to the streets and make their government accountable to stop this genocide in Gaza.
All right, Professor Rashid, I'm very grateful to you because during your travel time you have joined our show and contributing to our show. I'll again come back to you. Is it the rise of right-wing movement in UK with this question? But right this moment I want to go to Norman before I come to Shamsul Alam Pantho, because he will do the conclusion on this matter. My question would be to Norman. We have seen when Iran has become able to drop its bomb and missile to Israel for the first time from any Arabian countries, United States and its commander-in-chief started bombing Iran and its nuclear sites. He has actually given a message to the other Arab worlds that don't try to do anything with Israel. Then Iran became stopped. Iran and Israel were stopped. So my question is to Norman. Norman, is this the way to destroy an entire region by using a proxy country like Israel by United States? Mr. Norman.
Your question is I have a very complex response to that is the word proxy, the definition. What do we mean by proxy? Israel has a purpose. They want to be the leader in the region. They want to be the superpower in that Middle East region. The war on Hamas is a reason, and I use the word reason, but more an excuse to impose their goal. The goal is to dominate, to occupy the entire region, to be a leader, to be the focal point of the region. The United States has offered its support in regarding the response in regards to the attack with Hamas, to eliminate Hamas. The general consensus of Marco Rubio just met with them the other day, and they have agreed that Hamas must be totally eliminated. As I mentioned before, eliminating Hamas is not as simple as just getting rid of them in Gaza. Hamas is associated with and placed in different parts of the Middle East and other parts of the world. Israel's objective is to eliminate Hamas. That means anywhere they may be occupying or people working with them. So the issue of Israel in the region is very complex. They are focused on eliminating Hamas and at the same time developing their own presence in the region. So we see a very difficult situation looking at it from the outside, but it's very simple regarding Israel. They want to control the region, and they are willing and hopefully able to accomplish that mission. The people, the governments, the Arab nations, the Islamic world, the actually the total world is basically complicit. They're sitting, we're sitting around watching this thing happen. We are not taking any action. The regional players are just allowing them to occupy and continue their mission. So if any change going to happen, the surrounding countries, the United States and other countries going to have to basically put pressure on Israel to stop the aggression, to slow down, and basically
Mr. Norman Flood Barnes, let me seek apology to you for a huge breaking news for Bangladesh. Economic Times just informed me that US military movements near Bangladesh raised concerns in India and Myanmar, sir, and increasing US activity in the Chittagong region has triggered alarm in neighboring countries about shifts in regional dynamics. I am sure General Shafat will have lot of information, lot of details on that. I want to draw a conclusion on Israel and its war in Middle East by our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho, because he was very carefully listening. Professor Rashid from London, Norman from Washington, and General Safat in the studio.
Quite so hard to conclude such an event that even the entire world is struggling to see an end. But I would want to get everyone's attention to this one or two matters that I have picked out. The US takes a step towards the Caribbean, whether the US should have taken a step towards the Mediterranean. This is why I say it, because not much attention is required for illegal drug trafficking as much as innocent women and children being killed in the Middle East. This is my aspect. And another point that I want to pick out, where was the IDF when Hamas barged into the Israeli boundary? Why did they fail then, and why are they failing Israel today by launching attack on innocent people? That's my
in coming days we will have lot more information and discussions, comments from different political leaders. As I said that I will have one question to Dr. Rashid, but I apologize for a short commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be soon.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0065 629 24900। বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে।
Ladies and gentlemen, as we said that US moves in Bangladesh set off alarm in neighboring India and Myanmar. We have a veteran general in the studio. We'll ask so many questions to him. We'll discuss about it. But let me ask the first question to Professor Dr. Rashid Alam, political science professor of Dhaka University, currently traveling to United Kingdom. Is it the rise of right-wing movement in UK? What is the position of the so popular leader Nigel Farage?
Thank you. So I have been in UK here since 2018 to 2023, end of 2023. So I have been myself, I also seen there is a immense collapse of new UK's national health services, where people have to wait more to get their appointment. So large number of migration rise, and also large number of demand for the health services. You know, UK health service is fully government responsibility, so people have to wait to get their appointment. So that's a huge rise. Lack of funding for the NHS was also main reason. Also, the number of people increasement in the East constituency, that is another reason. Secondly, there is this stagnation in UK economy for a long time, like sluggish economic growth, and as well as high inflation. So when I was in here in 2018, the price of everything in 2025, now I can see everything is doubled up. So one of the main reason is Brexit. You know that there's an immense supply of goods and resources used to come from European countries, but now that supply is coming up with additional taxes and VAT. So that's how the inflation also heavily rise, and also the young communities lack of employment opportunities. So they are also very much upset with the current government policies against the immigration. Like particularly they're talking about unnecessary immigration. So they're talking about like lack of, the UK government should not allow even many student migrants to bring their families, their children in UK, and also they are heavily criticized the UK government slow response to the irregular migrants, particularly the people who are coming with the boats in UK. So the UK government is spending a lot, particularly nearly $20 billion every year to handle these issues of irregular migrants. They have to, because of the high rates of human rights standard here. So even the irregular migrants having some sort of human rights here. So to managing that, the UK government is in huge debt pressure. Like their public services debt is tremendously increasing. Like 300. The one of the statistics showing that it would be rise to 300% of the GDP if the current ongoing policies that UK government is committing. So that's how there is a immense pressure, and also citizens are very much upset with the Conservative government who was in power for a long time, and also now the Labour Party who came into power, but they are unable to solve these issues. That's why there is a huge demand and huge popularity that Nigel Farage is enjoying, particularly his agenda on these issues are becoming popular among the citizens.
Yes, Dr. Rashid, I really appreciate, and we are very much grateful to you for joining from London, United Kingdom. We'll be again connecting you tomorrow, 8 a.m. GMT, for asking you so many developments in Europe. Sir, I will see you tomorrow. I have on the other side of the world, US Federal Reserve and interest rate policy under huge political pressure. So I want to do a question to Mr. Norman. You are in very near to federal establishment in Washington DC. How serious is the threat of the federal's independence if political figures are pushing for deeper rate cuts? This is a political intervention. Directly, you agree that this is a political intervention to the Federal Reserve, Mr. Norman?
Yes, the Federal Reserve we anticipate a announcement today or the next couple of hours, as a matter of fact, regarding the decision on the interest rate. It is put out that there will be a interest rate reduction. The amount is unknown right now, but it appears to be substantial. It's being put in place to basically to stabilize the economy. The job market projections is low. There's concern about how the average person, how business is going to survive, and how they're going to make ends meet. Inflation is high, is globally is high, and we have the tariffs. The tariffs is affecting the jobs, the mid-level jobs, the
Yes,
people with
Mr. Norman.
with college
Mr. Norman,
education.
allow me
they
to
can't find jobs.
Mr. Norman, allow me to interrupt for the last seconds. That is, when we have seen some economic turmoil, we have seen the first hit on the Federal Reserve, right, sir? We have seen the first hit in the central bank. We have seen the first hit in the financial sector. I really appreciate for saying and giving us the picture of the latest situation in United States and world politics and war. Norman, I'll see you again tomorrow. I wish you a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Time has come to go for a short break. After the short break, I have two very important panelists in the studio, General Shafat and our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho. We'll discuss Genji's protest in Nepal and what is the latest on the other side. We have seen one news in Economic Times that regarding Bangladesh and US military. We'll definitely discuss it with the General.
জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো ৮০টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience 5-star comfort in suites and rooms. sophisticated fine dining restaurant, crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation, modern gym and serene spa for well-being.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. When nothing happens, newsroom is quiet. When so many things happens, newsroom become busy. When something disaster or war happens, newsroom and studio people, they lost their sleeping schedules. We are in such a situation. Let me start with our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pamtho. You guess, I will talk about Nepal. I will talk about the Gen Z's movement. I will talk about the role of social media in recent times, lifestyles of the young generation. What are the latest you observe from Nepal?
Thanks for this question. I understand how important this is. You know, Harvard scientists and scientists around the globe say smartphones are dangerous for young babies who are growing up. The radiation that stimulates from these devices are definitely harmful for very young infants. Now, coming back to the question that you raised about Nepal, it was an issue of how the state would be benefiting from allowing social media companies to be operating in Nepal, and they did the companies that are social media companies did not follow suit on these Nepalese rules and regulations, which led to the Nepalese ousted government to have a ban on social media. Something that is taken as a way of trying to silence people's voices. That's how the Generation Z saw it as, and they came to the streets. They burned down the ex-prime minister's residences. They burned down the Hilton Hotel, causing $8 billion in damages. And not only so, right now the tourism industry in Nepal is under jeopardy. No one is actively trying or pursuing trying to go into Nepal. But this opens up another dialogue here, is that Nepal is one of those countries who have seen subsequent government ousters far more than the years that have gone by, which is dangerous to some extent because in order for progressive growth to happen, some allotment of time is also required. That is, of course, my opinion. But in general, South Asia seems to be the continent or the region where Generation Z revolution is taking more of a ground. And I just want to connect it with the murder of Charlie Kirk. You see, radicalization of young people is happening on the rise in America. That is also a point to be noted, as Generation Z has not spoken about how they see Donald Trump in America. So we all have to be very careful of how we handle the younger kids.
I want to do one question, but you have to make a specific answer. Do you think Gen Zs are going to reshape the world politics and ruling system?
It's 2025 today, and to understand your question, we must see how they have a beneficial relationship in the upcoming decades. Whether or not they have any kind of motives for the rest of the century is a matter to be seen.
Well, sir, I want to get an expert comment from the general. Sir, you have seen the incident took place in Bangladesh last year in July. You have seen in Nepal. You have seen in Sri Lanka. You have seen in Indonesia. But Bangladesh is taking, interim government is taking much time to go for a public election to move into democracy. On the other side, Nepal has declared that within 6 months they will accomplish their job as interim government. Why so much difference in the closing statement?
Thank you very much. This is not a question which can be answered in few sentences. Quite complicated. The situation in Bangladesh, in Nepal, or in Sri Lanka or Indonesia are not same. The environment, political environment, economic environment are different. Plus, the overall context is also different. If you look at Bangladesh, it's what you call the generation Z or Z, whatever. They came at a much later stage. The administration had gone to a level where it had become virtually a police state. From there they had to recover. There were probably, I do not know, probably there was some force behind them. I do not know. So, as it happened,
why you guess so, sir? Is there any particular reason you guess some forces behind that?
I did not study that, so I do not know. I have not tried to find out. As long as change took place, good enough. In both, on all those countries, it was only the students who got involved in the movement. But in case of Bangladesh, the movement engulfed the entire nation. Even the retired persons were civilian and military, they came out of the street. That was the difference. Plus, in Bangladesh context, there was already a thinking that there's something, amendment, some preparation was being taken that reforms to be done. But in other places, the question of reform did not come up. So that was one factor. Incidentally, I teach these generation students in my university, the undergrad level. I do ask them, I do talk to them. They feel frustrated. They were feeling frustrated because they have been fed for years long with wrong information, wrong history. They knew it, but they could not talk. So they opened up. Now they have a vision. So I'd ask them that what are the vision that you have, will you be able to achieve it? They are in dilemma because between them and the elder leaders, there is no link. If you study today,
there is a huge communication gap.
And among the elder leaders, there is no maturity, I should say, because the elder leaders, they got so much involved in the dirty politics and in the corruption that they cannot face the present the generation Z. So because of that, there is a big vacuum in Bangladesh environment.
Sir, allow me to include our international affairs commentator. He belongs this generation or near to this generation. But with a question, you have heard the powerful words used by General Shafat and acknowledgement of the failure of the senior leaders, I mean veteran political leaders, regarding the dirty politics. My question would be, how can governments or politicians balance national security, national integrity, sovereignty, regulation and citizens' right to free expression, also with the related to the digital access? It's a very complicated question, sir.
The question is quite broad ranged, but I would want to add here that if it's a matter of sovereignty and allowing citizens to have a voice, even today we see there's politicians, people who are in the cabinet today, they want to make reform, they want to have changes in society, but there are problems in society as well which are underlying and not addressed to that capacity. As I'm sure a professor definitely teaches students of my age as well, and their voices, and they're not always heard. But today you see Bangladesh, a sovereign nation, we must understand our neighborhood first. We must understand who is surrounding us on all of our borders, that is India. We must understand how a war-torn or a faction war is happening in Myanmar, and how we are not concerned of 1 million Rakhine people are residing in Bangladesh ever since 2018. If you even look today is 2025, ever since 2018 we have a international refugee crisis happening on the shores of Cox's Bazar, and yet no government has stepped out internationally pressurizing to find a solution to this issue. There is a mini Gaza in Cox's Bazar that the world seems to ignore.
All right, sir. Before I conclude regarding the political issue, I want to remind our viewers 3 very important and significant quotes from the history of politics. Plato says, "The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by the evil man." He wrote EVIL with all capital letters. Now on the other side, Napoleon Bonaparte says, in politics, stupidity is not a handicap. And most important thing I really liked, and I have read it out many times, politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it everywhere, diagnosing it incorrectly and applying the wrong remedies. very, very important. Mark says, I want to go for a short break one more time, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties.